Welcome back. Let's talk about probability theory, the interpretation of probability theory. We haven't discussed about a lot of probability lately, but today let's focus on what probability theory really is and what is exactly the meaning of word probability. To do just that, we define probability theory as a branch of mathematics. We start with some axiom and we will develop some models to fit those axioms. And from models, we draw out some consequences which are called theorems. You can study probability theory without even asking what probability really means. You will see later that probability can be interpreted as a frequency in one of the axioms that we will talk about later. To do just that, we'll take example of a fair coin. When we toss a fair coin infinite number of times, we can say that we expect half of the time we will see head. This is a frequency approach or frequentist approach of probability, doing same thing infinite number of times and counting the frequency of something happening in that durational period. Is this all about probability? This is all there is. There are some other interpretation of probability too. For example, I can say that the probability that this person will be elected as a president of my country is 0.7%. This is a hard number. It is hard to say that if I repeat the election infinite number of times, then 7%, 70% probability that this person will be elected. We do not run election infinite number of times. Then how do we interpret this then? We can say that this is our belief that if this person will be elected as a president when we do the election, it is we are describing our belief in a numerical way. In other words, if you are a betting person, you can say that probability can be thought as a numerical guidance where we are willing to put our bet on. Now, some person may argue that when we talk about belief, we are being subjective. And they may ask you a question that isn't probability theory a branch of mathematics? Isn't that so? If that is true, then how probability theory can be grounded on belief? They may ask you, is probability theory is an exercise of subjectivity? Well, not quite. Probability theory can be thought as a framework, a way of systematic thinking to talk about uncertain situation. It is a way of reasoning. Let's say that it is a real world and we have our belief or probability model about the real world, and that probability theory or model can give us some useful information about the real world that helps to make some prediction and decision about the real world. Now, how good is your prediction decision depends upon how good your model is. Does your model nicely represent the real world? If it is, then you may have a good prediction from that model. There is a whole field of mathematics called statistics that helps us to produce a good model of the real world. Now, to depict what we discussed earlier, we can represent that in a diagram. Real world generates data, and we use statistics on top of the data to generate good models that represent the real world. This probabilistic model is used by probability theory to create predictions and decisions in the real world. In this way, these three things are connected. Let me quickly summarize what we discussed today. We talked about interpretation of probability theory, and we also talked about the role of probability theory in our daily life. Thank you so much. See you next time.